You know, hidden behind the drywall and under the floors of your home is this massive, complex network of pipes. It works silently, day in and day out. But here's the thing, it's under constant attack from forces you can't even see. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and expose the hidden enemies of your home's plumbing, and more importantly, what you can do about them.
So let me ask you this. What's secretly at war with your home? It sounds dramatic, I know, but while we're going about our lives, our plumbing is basically an active battleground. There are these environmental forces waging a slow, relentless campaign against your pipes, your foundation, and honestly, your peace of mind.
So before we can really identify the culprits, we need to get a feel for the battlefield itself. Just think about it for a second. Hundreds of feet of supply lines, drain pipes, and vents all fitting together perfectly. It's a system we completely take for granted, right up until the moment it fails.
To really get a handle on these threats, we're not just going to talk theory, we're actually going on the ground. We're launching an investigation, and our first stop is a community that is a perfect real-world example of this exact battle, a place where all the key enemies are on the move as we speak.
So, where are we headed? Schertz, a community right in central Texas. Now, you might be thinking, what does Texas have to do with my home? Well, the challenges these homes are facing are surprisingly universal. It makes Schertz the perfect lab for us to uncover the clues that point to the most common plumbing enemies everywhere.
All right, so what did our investigation in Schertz turn up? Well, we found three key pieces of evidence. Think of it like a crime scene. First, the water. It's hard, which means it's packed with minerals that build up inside pipes. Second, the ground itself is this expansive clay soil that actually swells and shrinks, putting enormous stress on foundations. And third, the history of the area means you've got brand new houses right next door to older ones with aging, really vulnerable pipes. These three clues, they're absolutely crucial.
And those clues, they lead us directly to our main culprits. So let's break down the three villains that are hard at work in Schertz and, more than likely, are probably plotting against your home too.
Okay, villain number one is hard water. You should think of this one as a silent saboteur. It's all the dissolved calcium and other minerals floating around in your water. Over time, they slowly build up and create this rock-like scale inside your pipes and appliances. It's a really gradual process, but believe me, the damage it causes is huge.
Now, hard water doesn't exactly hide its work. It leaves behind some pretty clear calling cards. You've probably seen those chalky white deposits on your faucets and shower heads, right? Or maybe you've noticed your water pressure just isn't what it used to be. Noisy pipes, rusty water, these are all signs. It's also one of the top reasons that water heaters fail way before their time.
Our second villain is a literal force of nature that is working against your house, shifting soil. These expansive clay soils, which are common in a lot of places, basically act like a giant sponge. They swell up when it rains and then shrink back down when it's dry. All that movement causes the foundation of your home to shift, and that can bend, crack, or sometimes even snap the pipes running right underneath your feet.
You know, the really sneaky thing about this kind of damage is that it isn't obvious at all. A leak under your foundation, people call it a slab leak, it gives off really subtle warning signs. That sudden, unexplained spike in your water bill, that is a massive red flag. Or maybe you've noticed a spot in your yard that's always damp, or you hear a faint hissing sound of running water, even when everything's turned off. Those are urgent signals that something is wrong.
And our final villain, it's simply the passage of time itself. Let's call it aging pipes. The plumbing in older homes, especially the ones built with old-school galvanized steel pipes, is basically a ticking clock. From the day they were put in, these pipes have been quietly corroding from the inside out, rusting away behind your walls.
So how do you know if your pipes are reaching the end of the line? You start to see chronic problems. I'm not talking about low water pressure in just one sink, but low pressure everywhere in the house. You might see water that comes out looking brownish or rusty, especially first thing in the morning. And, of course, the big one, leaks that just seem to keep popping up, one after another. Okay, so we've identified the villains. Now what? How do you actually fight back? This isn't just about patching a single leak. It requires a systematic, professional response. Let's look at how the experts tackle these really complex problems.
Any good professional is going to follow a clear playbook. It always starts with a proper diagnostic, using real equipment to find the root cause of the problem, not just the symptom you can see. Then, they should give you a clear explanation of your options, and you approve the price before any work begins. No surprises. The repair gets done right, and finally, the whole system gets tested to make sure the fix is solid.
It's a process that should be built on clarity and trust.
Professionals also bring way better tools to the fight. For example, for nasty clog, you might go to the hardware store and get a snake, right? But all that does is punch a little hole through the blockage. A pro, on the other hand, might use something called hydrojetting, blasting the inside of the pipe with high-pressure water to scour it completely clean. It's really the difference between a temporary patch and a long-term solution.
And this is a big one that people forget. Experts handle the stuff you don't even see, like local building codes and permits. Seriously, doing a major repair without the right permits can cause you huge headaches down the road if you ever try to sell your home. A professional protects you from all that future liability.
All right, so we've dissected all the problems down in Schertz. But what does all of this actually mean for you, for your home? Which, for most of us, is our single biggest investment. Let's bring all these lessons home. So the real question here is this. How can you take everything we've just learned from our little case study and use it to become a smarter, more proactive homeowner, no matter where you happen to live?
Here's your action plan, your home protection checklist. First, know your enemy. Do a little research. Find out if you have hard water or expansive soil in your area. Second, know your own home system. What are your pipes made of and how old are they? And finally, just be vigilant. Keep an eye out for those early warning signs we talked about, and maybe even consider a preventative checkup to catch problems before they blow up.
And the age of your pipes is absolutely critical. For materials like that galvanized steel we mentioned, once you cross that 40-year mark, you are officially in the high-risk zone for widespread failure. At that point, it's not really a question of if your pipes will fail, it's a question of when.
When you boil it all down, it really comes to this one simple truth. The most expensive problem you will ever have in your home is the one you decide to ignore.
Because a small, hidden leak isn't just a drip. It's the starting gun for a catastrophic chain reaction. The moisture spreads into your drywall and flooring. Then mold can start growing in as little as 24 hours. And over weeks, the wood framing starts to rot, weakening the very structure of your home. What started as a simple plumbing issue has now become a massive, expensive restoration project.
And look, the numbers here are crystal clear. The cost of being proactive with some preventative maintenance is incredibly low. Yeah, a minor repair costs more, but both of those are just dwarfed by the massive cost of waiting for a full-blown emergency and having to deal with all the collateral damage that comes with it. So, we'll leave you with this last thought. What's the real state of your home's hidden network? Are you in control, or are those hidden enemies quietly winning the war? Thanks for joining us on this investigation.